Hey everyone, how you doing?
Great.
Anyone new here? First time in
Oh,
the
I'm
meeting?
first one here. This
Oh,
is
welcome. Good to see
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. Trying to kind of join the community. This is San Diego, a local, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is San Diego local, but everyone is welcome.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I saw there's Los Angeles or something. That's a time, right? Los Angeles time, probably.
Yeah, there is I think there are a couple, at least used to be a couple in the Bay Area. I don't know if there's still a couple of them, maybe only one right now. Can't remember if it was consolidated or not. Um Not sure about Seattle. Do we have anything in Seattle? I
But
don't know.
it's virtual. It doesn't matter. It can be anywhere.
Yeah, today it's we
Yeah.
used to have in the first, so this is number 41. So I started the whole meetup, like I took over the group around March 2019.
Oh, that was
Where
years ago.
yeah,
Before
yeah,
the
20,
that's the COVID or 1 year before.
just before the COVID started. And for about a year until COVID started, we actually had uh, in-person meeting, and it actually didn't have any virtual meeting. Um, so we used to meet in a specific location in San Diego.
Yeah.
Uh, One company was sponsoring that, and when COVID started, I thought that it's gonna be just a couple couple weeks that we're not gonna uh, like everyone would work from home for a couple weeks. So I decided actually to cancel
Oh,
the
here.
March one. Yeah. I said, okay, I don't know how to do the whole thing virtual. It was all new to me.
Yeah.
Um, and I said, okay, I'll skip it. So it was it was the first and the only time that I actually was skipping a session.
I see.
And in April 2020, I felt that this is gonna be a bit longer than what I initially anticipated. I thought, okay, it's gonna be a few months, so I don't want to cancel it again. So I started doing it virtually, and then people requested to have that recorded. So I started recording and uploading to our YouTube channel. So that's basically how the whole thing started, and it started with 70 people. So when I took over the meetup, it was 70 people. The owner of the meetup stepped down, and the way it works is that if a specific group doesn't have an owner, meetup send an email to everyone saying if no one step up and take over the meeting, we would close the group. And I didn't want the group to be closed, so I took over. I didn't realize that it's gonna be something so long. I enjoy it, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's a good
Uh,
idea to have any kind of meetup can help each other. Yeah, I think.
yes, yes. The idea is to really to help, and it's actually a good segue. Let me do this. Actually, it's a good segue for me to explain, especially for the new people joining. Again, welcome to the new people. What I'm actually shooting. So this is the agenda for today. It was also advertised in LinkedIn and in the meetup page. So what is my goal?
Yeah,
Okay,
there
let's see.
is.
Maybe you're breaking up.
Yeah, maybe because of my connection, I'll close my video and can help probably.
Yeah, maybe you know what, if I can be multiple reasons. So I'll close my camera. I'll open it, try to open it again if things looks better. Okay. Let me know if you don't hear me. I'll try to do something. I
Fine
am on
now.
the
Yeah, fine
Yeah,
now.
fine. Okay. I'm on the Wi-Fi connection, so I think it'll be a bit spotty. So uh, the goal of the meetup is basically share ideas, discussions, and really, really what I'm hoping to have is that when every one of you after 1 hour, I'm kind of planning for about 1 hour, maybe 1:15. Uh, at the end of the meeting, you learn something new, at least one, hopefully more. But the idea is to really share things that would help you in your daily, if you, especially if you're working with C++, to help you with daily, your daily job. And I am trying to have a variety of levels. So from beginners and maybe sometime touch on the more expert part of C++. It's really difficult because every meeting, I know there are multiple levels of people that attending, and uh, I I don't want to confuse people that are just beginning with that. I don't want to lose them, and on the other hand, I want other people that are more advanced to find it interesting. So it's a balance, and it's not. Believe me, it's not easy for me to kind of strike the right balance in every meeting. So I'm trying to have all kinds of topics. Um, Sometimes we do have speakers that I managed to bring. So we had Amir Kirsch and we had people from JFrog talking about Conan. We had him actually twice. Uh, and other people, Ferdig was Andreas Ferdig was one of them. So lots of good people that I managed to bug them, and eventually they'll present something. If you want to present anything, feel free to approach me. It doesn't need you don't need to be expert. Uh, we are all here to learn, and if you want to present even something which is 20 minutes, you find something interesting in your job or pet project or whatever that you think that others can benefit, um, just let me know, and just prepare like few slides, and that I want it to be approachable. I want it to be like a very low bar to kind of in terms of entry, uh, kind of entry level of other people. Doesn't need to be. It's not a CPP con or CPP now type of meeting, um, which then you need to have a lot of um, good presentations and all, because it's really like an official conference. It's just for having fun. So okay, so this is sponsored by Qualcomm WRD software, like the wireless R&D software, which is a department that I'm part of. We do have a Dropbox link. I would upload everything there, all the slides there. We do have a Discord channel, um, which I need to use more, at least to publish the sessions. YouTube.com channel is actively maintained, so you can watch all the previous sessions there. Um, I do own this SDCPP meetup handle. I also have my own Twitter handle, which is Kobe_CA. And CA is not really California, just the initials of my last name. Just happen to be California. Um, I also publish the meetup notes in Martin blog, which is listed here. So for this agenda, we have few things that I wanted to discuss. We'll have few C++ quiz. We'll talk about template specialization, template function specialization, all kinds of gotchas, which I think is really important. Then we'll talk about a very important thing, which is temporary lifetime, especially in the context of for loop, and especially in the context of range for loop, which is a new C++ 11 feature syntax. It's a language syntax, and I want to have discussion. I have a few slides on that I want to present. Okay, so what I'm going to do, people that are already familiar with that know what I'm going to do. So I stop sharing the slides, and instead I'm going to share my Okay, we see. Okay, so you should see my Google Chrome, and I'm just gonna paste the element one by one. Okay, so this is from CPP Quiz, a very nice website. It's usually a CPP 17 question. And if you're new to this, there are four options. Sorry, three options. One is there is a compilation error. Second option is unspecified. Sorry, four options. One is you have output, then compilation error, then unspecified or implementation defined, and then undefined behavior. So four options. And I picked a quiz. Each and every single quiz has something that we can learn from. So hopefully that's the case. So we have two structs here, A and B. They have a constructor, and the constructor has std out, A and B, respectively. Then C, which has B and A instances, and then we call the constructors in the initializer list. We don't need to do that, obviously, but the author of this question has a specific agenda why we should do that. Okay, what do you think would be the output? Or if it's unspecified, implementation defined, uh, undefined behavior, compilation error, what do you think?
Correct order would have been to do it B and A, but I
Why?
don't know
Why
what will
BNA?
happen because it's the way in the order is specified in the data members in the class. So
But I'm
you,
initializing it this way.
I know. So I don't know what will happen, but I mean, typically I would do it B and A. But what would happen if we do
You
it?
will get a compiler warning.
There is a compiler warning under specific options. I don't know if it's a default, but there are some options would trigger the compiler warning. That's true. Compiler warning is because the order of initialization doesn't match the order of definition in the class member. The layout says B first and A second, and uh, the compiler would reorder it. So B would be called, the constructor would be called first and then A. And just like someone said here, in many cases, I've seen compiler says it's out of order. I'm going to reorder that. Reorder the initialization, not reorder the layout. Obviously, the layout is going to be fixed because this is what we want. The compiler is not going to reorder the layout. So this is true.
There
And
is it's also the operator is undefined. Is the main is calling the sys operator is not instead of not instancing any instantiating any objects. There's no instantiation here in the main method. It's just calling the sys operator, default operator. Right, that's a mistake. Running it.
my machine is just very slow. This is why sometimes you might hear me.
You zoom in a little bit, like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I just it's just very slow. So this is why I
yeah.
barely can do something. Sorry. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes Windows would act like that and would barely. Okay, so let's see what happens.
It's running on the fly.
Okay, first of all, let's okay. So this one didn't have any warnings. Okay, let's have a shorter generation just for fun, and let's not just let's do WO for now. Let's see if WO would do that. Yes. So WO would give us a warning, reorder. So it's just going to be reordered. And just like you said, it's really funny to have it because I'm calling this a constructor and it dies immediately. So for example, if I have something like this,
The destructor should be written by the compiler if you don't supply it.
Yeah, I just want to print.
Okay.
Yeah, you're definitely right that the
You're
compiler.
just calling the default constructor or calling the operator.
Yeah, I want to show you that there is an output.
There's
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to, yeah. You're just
Yeah,
calling a there's no steady effects. It's just like
I'm trying
not,
to.
not constructing a temporary object, right? And then got
Yeah, and
destroyed.
it dies. It dies immediately. Yeah.
Yeah. It's implicit, not even explicit coding.
Just takes a lot of time. You see that it's spinning here. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is look at the next question. Okay, so we have B and A, C and C, and so constructor and destructor. I'm not putting new lines, but you can imagine new lines between each and every, like B, A, C, and C. So just like someone said here, this is a constructor instruction in the same point, which don't do it at home, obviously. Okay, let's do next thing. Okay, again, C++ 17. So what we learned here, by the way, that's important just to summarize, order of definition is important, not order of initialization. It gets very, very tricky if you think that this is going to be the order and B needs something from A, right? Let's say B needs something from A. So B depends on some A being constructed, and you think, oh, I'm going to construct A and then B, and all is good because B would you're going to pass. Let's say you pass B, you pass A as to B constructor because B constructor has. This is going to be very wrong because B is constructed before A, and you'll get like garbage. So the important thing that to derive from this exercise is be careful with how things are initialized. By the way, there is a chapter in Beautiful C++ book exactly on this. Beautiful C++ book.
Yeah.
Beautiful C++ book.
It's a book.
This book, the flower book.
Yeah.
This one.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, it's by Kate Gregory and Guy Davidson. Very recommended, by the way. Okay, next. So the next one is I have a struct E, I have a constructor, destructor, copy, and I have F that returns E by value, creating it here, and I call F. Okay, what do you think would be the result?
Functions returning the.
Okay, do we have a constructor called? What
Yes.
do you think? Yes. Okay.
I think it'll be
Do
one, two,
we
three.
do okay? Wait. Do we have a destructor? Yes. Okay. Someone says 1, 2, 3. So we can agree that there is a constructor and there is a destructor. Now, the tricky part is there a copy happening?
In maybe C++17, they may have moved to move semantics for this code, but I don't know. I mean, in C++11, there probably would be a call to the copy constructor.
You're
No,
you're very close.
I think
if
it's
you
company.
don't, if you define your own default constructor or any constructor, I think the compiler will not generate the copy constructor and the assignment constructor. Is that right?
So
This,
the assignment would be there, and obviously, since you have your own user-defined constructor, the compiler is not generating the copy constructor. You are
yeah.
correct. The question is, do we have two here? Someone said that in 17 there is a move, and it's very
Yeah,
close to.
Move
they'll
has
probably
two
do the move
ampersands
semantics
though.
for this, right? Because we don't need to we don't need to do the copy in this case. So
Right.
I think it's move elision or some name like that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. You're very close.
Yeah.
Copy elision.
Yeah.
So,
Copy elision, not move elision, but copy elision. Yes, C++17 mandated copy elision, and this is what we have here. So we don't have to, but someone need to say something. Like should be someone, like someone should, because when I learned about copy elision, I had questions, and the questions were, this is not really doing any copy, right? But it has side effect. What do you all think about that? We think about copy elision. So you have C++17 that is doing copy elision, mandating copy elision. This is now mandated. It's not an optional
so
thing.
then in that case, 2 will not be printed if it is
It's
done
not
that way.
printed, but what do you think about this side effect? There is a side effect that actually goes away. Let's say you have a code that you want to see if there is a copy somewhere,
Mm.
and you do std out, which is basically a side effect. You can also write to a database. It's also a side effect. And the compiler goes and remove it's just doing a lesion to the copy constructor. It could be something that people might find as a surprise, right?
Your first output 1, then output 2, right? In the end, output 3. So the output will be 1, 2, 3. Is that right?
Yeah, we're saying that there is a copy elision, so there is a thought that 2 is not gonna happen. So the answer is really that 2 is not gonna happen. There is a copy elision. There is also the nice part of the CPP quiz is that there is a very comprehensive explanation, and it explains exactly what happened. Now, again, going back to what I said about the side effect, I think in the next meeting, I'm gonna have a few slides about this specific question about why it is allowed, even though you have a side effect, because it's observable side effects that are actually gone. So wait for the next month. I'll have a few slides about elaborating why this is actually okay to eliminate copy constructor, even though it has side effect.
Is that because the move semantic implemented
No,
in C++?
no,
7?
no. There is no move. There is. It's not about move. It just this could be elided.
Return
This
a
copy
temporary
can be
object.
elided. Yeah, the temporary, and there's explanation why it can be elided. There is no move here. There is um, you create a temporary that can be carried out, and why creating a copy? Well, you just can carry it out.
Just without copying, right? Without
Without
calling,
copy.
yeah, without
Yeah,
skipping the copying.
yeah. And there's explanation here. Okay, next one. And I promise to explain in the
Sorry, really
next.
quick. What was was it copied? I can understand the second word. Um,
Elision, Allision.
The elision one?
yeah, that one.
Doesn't have a lesion here. Let's copy a lesion. C++ 17 copy lesion. This one. You can read it in CPP reference as well.
Copy evasion.
Oh,
Yeah.
Legion. Oh, okay, thanks.
Introduced in C++ 17. So takeaway from here. There is in C++ 17 there are copies that is gonna be copy constructed calls that you would think that they would be called because you make copy, but the compiler and there are rules when compiler can remove them. Actually, in some cases, it's mandated.
Yeah, sometimes you got bugs because of the optimization remove.
Oh yeah. It's a good point that you bring it. This is not optimization. It's a good point. I just want to make sure that it's clear. This is not optimization. This is not the optimizer kick in. This is a language feature.
I see. And just
Okay.
some, even those hidden things you even didn't notice.
Yeah.
Because by default you want to optimize a little bit, right? Just then
Yeah.
because.
Okay, the next one again, C++ 17.
I just wanted to ask a question. So how can I force it to make a copy?
Oh, good question. There is an option.
I'm trying to play around with it in Compiler Explorer to get it to make a copy, but I'm not really successful so far.
There is a no copy elision or something like that. Give me a sec. I'll find. I can't remember from the top of my head, but there is a way to have -f. Let's see.
You create an object first, maybe you have to.
No. There is no copy elision.
I mean, I'm storing the result in a variable, but even then it doesn't really create a copy.
You have to.
No. There is a compiler switch. Give me a sec. My machine is just so slow. It's insane. I think it's time for me to replace it. Okay, let me see. Okay, let me see. 1 second.
There's a compiler flag. I mean.
Yeah, there is a compiler switch.
To optimize or to replace it. Sometimes those are tricky to use.
1 second. Ideally, this whole loading would be much faster. Okay, let me see.
Did you do it by setting the ampersand, our reference structure, the reference call?
Yeah, it's getting too slow.
I can't hear. I can hear. Someone said something, but I don't know if it's my.
If you could,
yeah, I'm
possible to add a second ampersand.
Here.
Like
this one. This one. No allied constructors.
Oh, that's a long option.
So if someone actually trying it at this moment, pass it to your compiler in Godbolt and see what happens. You should be able to see.
This is just for GCC. I don't know if there is another similar one for
I don't know
Visual
if there is
Studio or
a
something.
yeah. I don't know if there is a something. GCC has this but I don't know about. I personally not using it in my code. So but I know, but I couldn't remember the actual name. So I need to Google that. But I'm not using it. But it's there for GCC. I don't know about Clang.
Yeah, I mean that works.
Works okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure how else to get it basically to copy.
Could you actually delete the move operator in the class? Would that work?
No, it's not gonna make any difference. It has nothing to do with move.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with move. So you can delete move, but it's not gonna.
Yeah,
it's not because of move. Okay, let's go to the next. Let's looking at the next one. So we have stack override and base, and we have a virtual override F, which confusing because we have start override, override, and then F, and then derived is inheriting from base, virtual, auto, override, override. Returns 1, returns the override instance, and then there's instance of derived.f. Is it okay? The whole idea of this question, or this quiz, is override a reserved keyword that using it as a return, like as a type, and here you're using it a return type, is going to mess up stuff, because this override is the return type. It's training return. It's a training return type. And this override says I'm overriding the base class F. The question is it gonna explode or it's gonna be okay?
In practice, you shouldn't do it, but I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, I think similar, especially that
Yeah,
C++
even if
should
it's
be
okay.
backwards compatible. So
Yeah, even if it's okay, don't do it. Just like someone said. And override is not one of the reserved keywords, but still, do not do. By the way, funny. I'll tell you a funny story. I just happened to look at some code today in C, and the author was using the keyword, not keyword. There is no such keyword in C, but they use the name template as a variable name. And I was looking at it and said, okay, if one day this code, which is not going to happen, but theoretically, if this code would be moved to C++, it's going to be fun to fix a variable that
They can just
template.
do a global replacement, but then they'll replace other things.
Yeah. It's just funny.
Yeah.
Like people from C++, even if they write C, I think they would never use keywords from C++. It's just there is some mental
subconscious.
yeah, it's like there's something that doesn't allow you to do it.
It's kind of in the
mentally
imprinted in her brain.
Yeah. So this is just for fun. I don't use keyword even if they're not keyword.
Yeah, we're frequently seen ones because in the future it can be added to the keywords.
Yeah, that's something, by the way, that like people, if someone use a variable name concept and it use C++ 20,
yeah,
bad luck.
Concept.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe the compiler is smart enough to know it's a variable name, not a type definition. Maybe.
I don't know. I never tried it. I never tried to have a variable name concept in C++ 20 and see if it's exploding or not. Okay, the next one, I have the following. I have struct B that has just a const expert that says false on this value. Okay, so this is a static const expert Boolean. I have A, which is a template, struct template, and it has static assert of T : value. And we have A that is creating an instance. You know what? I shouldn't say creating an instance. There is A. It's not true what I said right now. There is A of B. Basically, I pass B as a template parameter, and there's a pointer. This whole thing is a pointer. A. I'm not initializing the pointer to anything like to null pointer or anything like that. Just A is a pointer to A struct A, which is a template with B template parameter, and I print 1.
Is a definition important? B has to be before A?
That's one question. That's one question. Is B, does B need to be before A? That's one thing. The second thing, yeah.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I also don't think so.
Okay. Sometimes you need to kind of sing it first. Depends. Yeah, in the same translation unit, maybe it's okay. Reading part two round parsing, right? First you got, and then use it.
The question is, if I have A of B, let's say I do have an instance of that. So I creating a struct A, I creating an instance with B, and then static assert, which is a compile time assertion, takes T, which is a B, colon value, which is false in compile time. So the whole idea here is it going to compile, or or the static assert is going to trigger? And this is a very hard question, by the way. It's not, I think the difficulty here is not 2, it's actually 3 in my opinion, but
it probably depends on the evaluation, right? Maybe a runtime error, right? Construction, when you start running, then when during the object construction, the force is will fail, right?
yeah.
A constructor will fail. The compiler is okay. It doesn't matter. That's the correct syntax.
I think the thing is that you've only done a pointer. You've not actually initialized an instance. So unless there is some special rules for templating where they need to.
These are static. Static is when you even not instancing, you're doing this. Static things are done.
But it is not. I mean, what will you pass in when you're constructing the object? Nothing, because it's just a pointer here. It's not actually creating anything.
No, your static. Static means A is not static. Static assert. That static assert means static.
I was gonna say, isn't const expr not necessarily guaranteed to be done in compile time? So it might be left for runtime as opposed to actually being done in compile time.
This specifically would be compile time.
Yeah, the static assert will ensure that.
Constant expression is compile time, yeah.
I thought it wasn't guaranteeing.
It's not guaranteed, but this one, yes. The way it's written right now, value would be a compile time.
Compiler deal with constant expressions. We'll do the calculation for you. That's by definition.
Yeah. But it is true that sometimes it depends on the context.
You could have a const expression function where it might take a value. In that case, it'll have to be runtime.
Yeah. Unlike const eval, which is different.
Right. Or const init, I believe.
Yeah, const init is for variable that has static initialization guaranteed in compile time. But they are not, it's kind of confusing. Const init is not const. It's just, okay, that's a different story. It's really confusing. I actually just happened to read about const eval, const init this week more in depth because I saw some snippet of code that I wanted to kind of delve into. So let me tell you what happened. First of all, I got it wrong. I was sure that A of B would create an instance.
No,
then
it shouldn't.
If it's creating an instance, then static assert is triggered. But it's not creating an instance. Why? Because it's a pointer. Someone already said that. Since it's a pointer, you don't really, the compiler doesn't actually need a complete implementation. This is just a pointer. So it's actually not instantiating A of B. Thus, it's not going to trigger static assert. So everything is fine. No static assert. 1 is printed. And the explanation is here. If we had an instance A of B of A, for example, instead of pointer, then we'll get a compile error.
What if we try to use that pointer and, for example, call some function from this template and without even initializing this pointer? So like runtime.
Excellent question. Okay,
yeah, I mean it's undefined, right? At that point.
Yeah, it's undefined. It's undefined. But the question, I think the question is, are you
the
now
compilation will fail or not?
Yeah, I think what happened is it's still a pointer. You don't have an instance. So basically, what you're saying is, even though it's not a pointer, right?
Yes.
We don't need even. I don't need to initialize it. I just want to make a point here, and I don't need to run it. We just want to see compile time. Okay, and I have F. And what I'm going to do here is just one. Okay. So what happened here is that it is failing. Without this, let me see. So when so the question, just to repeat, what happened if you're using it? Is it actually now the compiler says, oh, someone is doing, I'm gonna create an instance? Apparently yes, because the static asset actually is triggered.
Yeah, that's even more confusing.
It's more confusing. I agree. So in the guts of the compiler, I just wonder if CPP Inside has anything that would help us. I doubt it, but let's see. Yeah, its compilation failed, so it doesn't really. I don't think we'll see anything special here. Yeah, so what happened here is that you see there is no instance happening in this case, but since there is a compile error, so it's okay, let's do this. Now we should see an instantiation of A. You'll see that the CPP Insight would do that for us. Oh, you see, it created an instance. I just made sure that I just wanted to show you that the instance happening, and so the static assert is passing. Interesting. I didn't think about that. Thanks for asking that. It's a very good question. Okay, I had two more questions, but I have like 20 something, let's say 30 minutes left for the session. I'm going to leave the other two questions for the next time. I want to go over the other agenda because I think it's really, really interesting to go over that. So what I'm going to do is share with you back the slides. And I'm moving to presenters view. Hopefully you see no change, right? And you can see it switching. Yes.
switching.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Okay, so few weeks ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago, maybe less, I noticed a post from a person named Alex, and it was a good post that I thought it's something worth mentioning in the meetup because it is a source of confusion. One thing. Second thing, I want to brainwash you not to do something that would confuse you and your peers. So I thought that it really fits well into this meetup. Okay, so the question was, you see this snippet of code? Let's go over that. This person is using FMT, which is a format library that was part of the C++ 20. It's just think about it like a printf on steroids, like really, really on steroids. But the idea is just to print something. Okay, so I have main with double defined 1.5, and I pass double as a pointer to a print function. I have three of these functions. One is a template function. The second one is, what is this? What's the name of this? Yeah, it's a specialization. Actually, this is not special. This is overload. This is the specialization. Sorry. There is no specialization to functions, only to classes and structs. So this is actually an overload, and this is the specialization. Just like it says generic. Basically, this is the base one. This is the overloaded one, and this is specialization. Why specialization? Because I have this template with empty brackets. There is no partial specialization, by the way, to functions. And then I have double. Okay, what would be the output?
I don't know. I'm not used C++20, but it would maybe it seems like double. Since there's a specialization for double pointer, probably that will be the one that matches the best. And so maybe specialization, but I don't know. I'm not used to
Okay.
C++20.
So first of all, it's C++ 98. I can have C out here. So don't mind the FMT. Think about C++ 98 or 3, like the very, very basic stuff. So you said it's going to be specialization. Do you know why?
Well, as I said, I think it matches double the best. So if it would not have been double, it would have been in star, then it would have probably gone to the T star matcher, I guess, whatever the matching is. But if it is double and it is the explicitly we are calling the, like a pointer to double with the print, I would think it would match the best. But
Okay.
I don't know really.
This one, I have a question. This one is specializing who?
Specializing the T type, the type pointer.
Which function? There are two templates here.
Visualizing the one in line 36.
Down the first.
36. This is true.
The 36?
Yeah. The order of where I put line 37 and 38, basically the definition of this print function with double star matters. So I have template with print T, I have template with print T star, and I have specialization. It's specialized the one that comes before. Why? Because of the order. This is very, very important to understand. So whoever sets specialization as the output is correct. The way it works is the following. The compiler needs to find print. It looks at these two functions first. It looks at everything that looks the same in terms of overload. I'm kind of very, very non-formal definition. I'm just telling you a story about how things would look like in this case. Now, it definitely fits the pointer better than T, right? The pointer, the overload of the pointer is a better match, right? Now, the compiler, which didn't have visibility yet to the special. Now it looks, do we have specialization for this specific function? Yes, double. Is it really better than the T star? Yes. Then we go to specialization.
It looks for the more concrete type than the more generic type, right?
Yes. How about this one? I just flipped it. I put the specialization in between these two. What is the output now?
Well, I imagine it'd still be specialization.
You specialize the first function, right? The first one, the type non-pointer type, because double pointer is also T. Right? Still works.
Okay, so anyone else thinks something else?
Kobe, I think you said something about the order, and the order probably is important, but I didn't catch it completely.
Yes. The order is important. Why? Let me explain. When the compiler sees this print, for the first phase, it doesn't see this double star. Just doesn't see the specialization. It looks at they're like top level functions, first class citizens functions, which are these two. Which one is better match? The pointer one, right? So it drops this one. Now within this function, there is a second class citizen, which is the specialization. Specialization are second class citizen, not first class citizens. Since we have this double star, it goes and say, okay, this is better than the T star. So I'll pick specialization. The order of where I put specialization matters. This is why I'm saying, and now I put it in, not me, but whoever had this question, which basically, by the way, comes from Guru of the Week. I put it in between these two. Now remember what I said, that these two are first class citizens. Okay, overloads are first-class citizens. So what happens here?
Probably overload then.
Overload. So what happened? Yes, true. So what happened here is that this is why everyone under the sun, even though it's allowed, advocate against specialization of functions. Better to overload, because here's the thing. When the compiler looks at print, it looks again on first-class citizens, which are these two. Okay, print t and print t star. Now it looks, what is the better match, t or t star? It doesn't see this specialization yet. Just take a look at what is better match. What is a better match? T star, right? So it removes as an option this print t, and it's, I don't know, child specialization. It's removing it. And it's left only with this overload, and this is why overload would be printed. The moral here is that function specialization are very hard to get right. Not only that, think about you specializing something, a specific function, and the order matters, and someone goes and move things around to have a refactoring and things stop working, or they're working in the wrong way. Do you really want that? If you see specialization, function specialization in your code base, please make sure that you understand what they're doing. Maybe don't touch it. But it is a ticking time bomb in your code, because the order matters, and other things would happen if you change the order. Now there is a very, very good, everyone knows Herb Sutter, hopefully. Yes, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
A very famous, a great guy in the industry and C++ community. I think he's still the chair of the committee, but I can't remember. Anyway, he has this Guru of the Week blog that he, beginning of 2000, used to maintain. I don't think he has new. You know what? I take it back. I think he had few very new ones last year or something, or the year before. But there is one that talks exactly about this specialization of function template, and it explains exactly what I explained, maybe in a better wording, and advocating against it. So what I did, I just copy paste model 1 and model 2 from the page, and let's just read it together. And just, I want that to kind of make sure it's something that you understand, and not do not write it, and ask your friends, your peers, not to specialize. And if you have code review, suggest not to specialize, but to do other stuff, and we'll see what does it mean, other stuff. If you want a customized function-based template and want this customized to participate in overload resolution, always be used as exact match. Basically, be considered a first-class citizen. Make it plain old function, not specialization. If you provide overloads, avoid providing specialization, because you would be surprised to see different results. If you don't, like, I understand the mechanism, but I can definitely get things wrong if I miss something in old code base and I move things around and things stop change. So why doing it? Even if the language allows you to do that, don't do that. This is, by the way, one of the language features that people kind of, I know if the word regret is like, but people prefer not to have. Okay, second moral. If you're running function-based template, prefer to write it as a single function template that should never be specialized or overload. So don't specialize it, don't overload it. If you want to specialize it, implement the function template entirely as a simple handoff to a class template. I'll show an example that I just copy paste from the Grow of the Week page, containing a static function with the same signature. And then you can specialize that either fully or partially. Remember that the advantage of having class or struct template is that you can actually have partial specialization, which is nice. And it's much safer. So what does it mean? What actually Herb Sutter is saying, and by the way, this might be written nicely with C++20. I don't know. I didn't think about it more about like how to maybe write it differently, but this is taken as is from the page. Okay, so we have this template struct that I just declare that the struct template, there is no definition yet. And now I have a function template that just hand off to a different entity, which is a struct f. It's a struct template with f of t. It's just handed it off. Users don't touch this, which means do not overload, do not specialize, don't touch it. There is no, actually, I don't think there's a way to kind of make sure that people don't do it, but don't touch it, don't overload. Now, what you have here is a struct f-impl that has a static function that is being invoked here. Now you can take f-impl and do whatever you want. Make it a t star, make it anything you can think of, and it would be basically the compiler would call the right struct static f without an issue, without surprises. So this is what Herb Sutter is suggesting. If you really need specialization of a specific function, that's the way to go. That's basically, by the way, what I do and what I suggest people either code review or design reviews, when I see specialization of function, I say, okay, don't do that. You have a class, a template class T, and you need an integer, don't specialize. Have f of int, that's it. It's gonna be a first class citizen participating in an overload resolution. It will be a candidate and guaranteed to be a candidate. And it will be picked because what happened is, remember that, by the way, always, non-template are always better than template. I have multiple examples about that that I'm going to present in future. I'm preparing all kinds of future material. But non-template functions always better than template function. Just remember that they are usually a better match. Okay, which makes sense. I bet people know that. Do you have any questions regarding this?
I was wondering, so if we aren't going to create a class and pass it through, so we're looking at that model one, thinking of the example where we had the double pointer being passed through, if we wanted to have that not specialized, is the compiler always smart enough to grab the exact match of that function and not the templated version of that? So like, if we have just, yeah, if we go back.
So
yeah,
I don't know if I have a way to copy, but basically, if let's say there is no template here, there is a print double star. It's a plain first class citizen, just regular function, and the answer is yes.
Gotcha.
Because I have double star here, I have T star here, and I have T. So forget about the specialization. There is no specialization. There is print T star, both of them templates, and I have double star. Yes. Okay. Yes, the double star would be picked. Yes, it's the best match. It's not T star, it's double star. We're actually saying exactly what we wanted. The compiler would give us this. No ambiguity, no nothing. This would happen.
Yeah, that's the exact signature, essentially.
Exact signature, exact match. That's it.
Yeah, C++ put the function name has some weird things, print, and then they append something like the compiler makes up some unique symbols, right? And
Yeah, this is mangling. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm not talking about mangling here. It's just the it's not about how the symbols are dumped into the binary. It's just the
compiler, yeah, compile time.
it's a overload resolution is pretty clear here.
Yeah.
The question is, someone might have a question. Let's say I have a double star and I'm passing a float. Is this okay? Is float is convertible to double? Is it good enough?
I'm not sure because the field of width is different, right?
It's different. Yeah, it's different. So unless I'm totally mistaken here, since it's not a good match, it's a float, and but the parameter is double, so it's not gonna pick because it's not an exact match.
But if it's like a plain float, then it will be converted to double. The float will be converted to double, will be used, right? It's just a plain double.
So let's say there is a print T and there's a print double, not star, and I pass a float. T would be taken because double is not a float. So there is no exact match here.
Okay.
There's not going to be conversion. If someone wants to prove me wrong, please go ahead and try it out. But
yeah, that T should be first because it's no match. Yeah.
Okay.
Did
it answer whoever asked? I don't know. Sorry, folks, I don't know names. So whoever asked this, did it answer your question?
Yes. Yeah,
okay, awesome. So we are 6 p.m. I do have a couple things that I'm not going to finish in the remaining time, which I thought maybe another 10 minutes. But here's what I'm going to do. So I have like 3 slides that I do. It's a very easy 3 slides that I do want to talk about. So if you have another 10 minutes, stick around. And the rest of the planned slides, I'm going to kind of move to the next meeting, okay? Because I don't want to take more of your time. So about 3-4 slides and we're done. Here's a question that I found in Stack Overflow, and really like string view, and I really like question about string view because there's so much confusion and misconception about string view that I want to kind of discuss it. So here's a question. I have a include a string view and see stdio. So someone asked, how do I print using printf of string view? So I have a string view of hello. This is copy paste from the Stack Overflow. Is this, and the person asked, is this the right way? So I take a static cast of int of the length to provide the length and then the data. So basically, yes, it's working. Actually, the right syntax for printf is to have dot star. That was one of the things that were pointed out, but it's working even without the dot star. But anyway, the question was answered, and I've seen this one. It was way at the bottom of the page of this specific question, and it was downvoted. And I actually don't think it needs to be downvoted. And let me explain. So this person says, in your specific example, this sv.data would work. Why? Because you are pointing to a string literal that is null terminated, and the entire view in this specific example, emphasis on this specific example, this would be fine to just saying, just give me the data. And people just basically, I had this comment. I think people kind of misunderstanding what this person Bill is trying to say, and this is where I'm trying to explain. What about string view? So string view basically is just a view, right? If you are pointing to a string literal would have a null terminated. So if you just happen to have a string view of the entire string literal, just like this person had here, it's a null terminated. So the string view is pointing to a character array that happens to have a null terminated. But what people try to advocate is that when you get a string view, don't assume that it's null terminated. Why? Because it might just point to somewhere in the middle of a character array, which means and this is a good example. I have a string view that I'm creating. So I have a string view of this literal. This literal is null terminated. Okay, fine. I'm creating another string view. So sub is a string view. I'm creating it with a substring 05. So yes, I have a view of partial string, which is not null terminated. So I cannot, if I just want to print the 5 first characters, I can't really just do that data, because that data would give me the entire, it's a pointer to the beginning of this array. This array would not null, it's a null terminated one, but this is not what we want to have, right? We want just to have the what exactly is being pointed, like the view, string view is just a pointer and a length. So this is the right approach, right? It's the length and the data. So basically very similar to what is being written here, or originally what the person was asking. But again, I just want to make sure that people understand how the mechanism work and why this specific, very specific approach does work for this specific string literal. Because the idea was, I want to print the entire string literal. How do I do it? Just happen to have a string view. Fine. You have a string view that has, so that data does work, but in the generic case where you don't really know what you have in your hands, what this view means, then you can't really just write that data, because that data is a pointer to some memory with a character array, and it doesn't mean that you actually printing the view, but in this case you're going to print everything until the null terminated is reached. So in the generic case, yes, this is not what you want. This is what you want in the generic case. You have some string view, don't know where it's pointing to. You want the length and the data. Fine. But I just want to make sure that people understand that in specific cases that you are aware of and you have knowledge that is not going to change. That's just like in just very simple example, it does work. The exact thing that the user wanted, which is the entire hello exclamation mark, is gonna work. Just wanted to, it's a good, I know what people mean here when they downvoted this question, because it doesn't work on the generic, but that's what he said. I was very specific that it's only for C-string constructed object, which I would actually add here that you have full knowledge that the view is actually the entire string. So that works, but not for the generic case. Does it make sense? Like this entire part of this session about string view? Do you have any questions about string view?
I guess I was going to ask, what if it's constructed from like a std string?
So again, if it's constructed from a std string, it gets the whole string. And the std string is not, I mean, so the view is for the entire string. The problem that people have with this approach is that, let's say you have a std string view as a parameter. It's a function parameter. You don't know exactly what it's pointing to in terms of length. You don't know if the entire view just happened to be the entire string literal that just happened to be null terminated. And this is why people advocate against this knowledge unless you really, really, really know that this string view is pointing, the view is for the entire character array, which is null terminated.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. One time I was actually wondering if it would be good idea to add like additional function to get the char pointer from the string view that will also check if it's like null terminated, and it will throw exception if it's not. So like you kind of trying to get a C pointer from the string view, and it will basically error out if you shouldn't do it.
So this one, for example, if you try to see what happens, what sub is pointing to the first 5 characters from 0 to 5, and it's not going to be null terminated because it's a view for just in somewhere in the middle of a string. So it's the string view is just a pointer and a length. And in this case, it's not, you can't really say, okay, that data and expect it to give you the 5 characters. It's not going to happen. It's going to give you everything until it's hitting null terminated character. But that's not what you want. You just wanted 5.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why if the string view class has like another method called like cstring that will throw an exception if your assumption is incorrect, that might be something useful.
Yeah, you can definitely do that.
Because like the printf is, let's say, a case where you can do it kind of easily. But if you like using some other C library that has API that you need to pass a pointer to const jar, then you basically need to cast it to the string and then use a cstr function from the string if you want to do it in the safe way.
Kobe, I would just say one thing. I actually agree with the minus on that. The reason is that a lot of people may not understand the string view concept before they do the Stack Overflow search, right?
Yeah.
So for them to get uh, if they look at that answer, they might say, "Oh, yeah, I can use this all the time because I don't know string view, but somebody said this answer is correct."
Yeah.
And so I actually agree that it should be negatively voted.
Actually, it's a good, Nilesh, it's a good point that you bring up. I actually I was thinking exactly the same thing, that people, which is this whole culture that we all seen with that culture, that we take something not fully understanding what does it mean. And I think the minus, the downvote is exactly because what you just said, Nilesh, about people might use it, they're not going to delve into the details, understanding exactly what this person tried to say. And what I'm trying to say here is that you should understand, not you, Nilesh, but people that actually copying stuff, including myself. I try to understand if I see a specific snippet of code in Stack Overflow, I do my best to understand what's happening, so I understand the broader case. And I agree that the downvote came as a protection for the community, not to use it as a kind of as a warning. Don't use it. I can see both sides. Just to be trying to be neutral here. I can see both sides, definitely. Now, the most important thing for me, at least from this part of the meetup, is people understand string view and the subtleties, I would say. Okay, so that I'll move the other part of what I planned to the next meeting, and hopefully you all learn at least something new, at least one something new in the past hour.
So in this print statement, is it gonna sub.length? Is it gonna give the entire string's length?
In this length, no, it's not the length of the entire hello, this is a longer, but just gonna give you the length of the view, which in this case, 5.
Okay, but the data is gonna give you the entire string?
No, because the data is not going to give you the entire string. The data is just a pointer. And we tell printf, from this pointer, I want to print this amount of characters, which is the length. So remember, that data just give you a pointer. How do you treat this pointer is up to you as a printf function. The printf is getting a length that would be used to know how many characters to take from the data, from the pointer. Pointer is just pointing to some area in memory.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, maybe, yeah, I probably didn't. I'm not too used to using printf. Okay, I see.
But this example is not a good example. It shouldn't start from 0. If it starts in the middle, it would be a better example.
I also agree on that one. Yeah, I do. I think that a better example would be a substring that doesn't start with. But I think what happened, he wants the hello. So what I would do is put something before and then have the hello and have the substring that start with a non-zero, just to give you really the general case where you have something right in the middle. But for every code, we can always optimize it more. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, nice to see you guys.
Nice to see everyone. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully you learned new stuff in the past hour or so. I'll prepare stuff for the next meeting.
Okay, good.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks, Kobe.
Take care.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.